Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third lesson for the Introduction to AI for Teaching and Learning. During this module, we're going to focus on detecting AI-generated content, so let's get started. Today's lesson will focus on strategies that you can use to detect AI-generated content. And just like the previous module, you will have additional instructional resources like videos, guides, and simulations that you will engage with just below this video. In today's video, we will discuss strategies for detecting AI-generated images and text without the use of additional software tools. You will learn the things to look for when making a determination as to whether or not the content was created by humans or AI tools. We will also present software tools that can be used to detect AI-generated images and text. And then we will talk about strategies for approaching students who may have inappropriately used AI in their class submissions. So let's dive in, starting with detecting AI-generated text. When we talk about detecting generative AI outputs, there are two ways to do that. You can either detect it yourself after a bit of training, or you can rely on some kind of AI tool to detect AI-generated content. We'll talk about some of the AI tools you can use to detect AI content on the next slide. For now, we'll talk about some strategies that you can use as a human to detect AI-generated text. The first strategy is to practice using AI to generate text. The more you use it, the more obvious it will become. There are certain patterns associated with AI-generated text. For example, you will find that AI text tends to be vague with a lot of fluff, which just refers to meaningless repetitive text. You'll also notice that the unique voice of the author is missing. Voice is hard to describe until you notice that it's missing. It's what makes up the tone of the writing and what gives you a sense of their personality. This can come from sentence structure, vocabulary, and the writer's overall unique style of writing. You'll see what I mean when you start to go through the simulations in the lesson below this video, because you will experiment with detecting AI writing and patterns will emerge. When it comes to detecting AI in student submissions, it will be important to be able to compare the submission in question with another submission that you are certain the student wrote, like an in-class writing assignment. And you will also notice if the writing voice very suddenly changes midway through the paper. That may be an indicator that one or more of the paragraphs were copied and pasted from an AI tool. Another red flag to look for in academic writing samples is the appearance of citations that refer to sources that do not actually exist. AI text generators have a tendency to invent sources that sound and look plausible but are actually hallucinations. In other words, they're totally made up. Checking your students' sources will be increasingly important as more students use generative AI for writing. One of the strategies I highly recommend is putting your prompts into a text generator so you can see what the machine comes up with. You'll recognize it if you see the same or very, very similar paper from one of your students. In addition to the strategies we covered for honing your AI detection skills, there are several tools that can help. However, I strongly encourage you to develop your own skills and not rely too heavily on AI detection tools, as they are not the most reliable. You'll see what I mean when you start to generate text and put it through the AI detectors for this module's assignment. Even in the last few months since this course was initially launched, several AI detection tools have been removed as they resulted in high numbers of false positives and, frankly, lackluster detection. This means that running a student essay, for example, through an AI detector might turn out to be a false positive, which can have serious consequences for the student and for your relationship with them. We'll talk more about how to approach students in a few minutes, but here are a few AI detection tools that you might use as part of your AI detection process. The first of these is Turnitin. It's worth noting that when Turnitin released their AI detection tool, they estimated a false positive rate of about 1%. but within a few months updated that to be 8% for false positives. Now, this is a premium tool. You have to have a license to use it, but many institutions already have a Turnitin license, so you just might have access to it. Another tool that is available for you to use for free is GPT-0. This was developed by a Princeton student, and DetectGPT, which was produced by a student at Stanford University. These are all good options to use when you suspect a student has inappropriately used AI to generate text for an assignment. Again, bear in mind, false positives are a huge problem, and it doesn't do the best job detecting anything with 100% certainty. Let's do a demonstration with that Harper Lee essay we generated in the lesson video for Module 2. So here we are in GPT-0, and I'm going to paste my text that I copied from the GPT output. I've only copied 2 paragraphs worth for demonstration purposes. We can now check the origin. We could also upload a file if we wanted to. Now the results show that the text is 52% likely to be written by AI. Now that can be really confusing. Right here it highlights everything that is detected as being produced by AI. 6 out of 6 sentences are likely AI generated, but you'll see that this is not a particularly convincing percentage. This would give me pause if these were my results. Now we know that this is 2 paragraphs that are lifted directly from a ChatGPT output. It may be helpful to start a conversation with your students, but this is not going to give you 100% guaranteed or 100% accuracy. I do this demonstration for 2 reasons. It's not so much that I want to destroy your confidence when you're using these tools or to destroy your confidence in your ability to detect AI-generated text, but I would rather you know the reality of using these tools. The better you become at detecting AI yourself, the more effective you will be when it comes to the conversations you'll need to have with the students who you suspect of using AI tools inappropriately. It's important to note that AI-generated images and even videos are becoming frighteningly realistic. There's AI that can create the sound of voices and even mimic singing voices, which is a huge problem for the music industry. There are videos of political leaders seemingly saying things that are outrageous, more so than normal anyway. And there are concerns related to what's called deepfakes, which are images of people doing things that are photorealistic, but totally made up, or images of people that don't really exist. Certainly, it will be important to be able to spot AI-generated images in your classes, especially if you teach a class with design or art deliverables. But because of the far-reaching implications, this is the kind of phenomenon that has broad world consequences and may be worth educating your students about as well. There are several resources for you to play with below this video, so make sure to take the time to explore everything. These may be items you want to share. So now let's talk about strategies for detecting AI-generated images. We'll talk first about human strategies, then we'll go over the AI detection tools that can be used to support those efforts. When viewing images that you suspect are AI-generated, the first strategy is to seek out anomalies. This is especially true when looking at images that have humans in them. You may notice mismatched earrings, or eyes missing, or features of differing size. You may also notice images with too many fingers, teeth, arms, or legs. Or there may be incongruous elements like patches of skin that seem painted, or eyeglasses that blend into the sides of faces. Or in the background, there may be text that looks more like Elvish than any actual written language, or other surreal scenery that defies logic. You'll see many samples of these types of red flags when reviewing the additional resources in the lesson. And one more thing I want to draw your attention to is the DALL-E watermark. In this sample image, you'll notice a small colorful mark in the lower right corner. Here it is a bit bigger. Currently, only DALL-E includes watermarks on their generated images, but in the future, it may be that the others follow suit. So now let's talk about AI-generated images with the different software tools that are available. Again, the better you are at detecting AI without relying on these tools, the better off you will be, but it's always good to have additional resources. The good news is that these tools are pretty straightforward to use in that you just upload the image in question and get a result pretty instantly. So I'm going to show you how one works just now. The links to each of these detectors are available just below this video in the lesson. And remember, these links may change as the technology changes very rapidly. For this demonstration, we'll work with the Maybe AI image detector. So here we are in the Maybe AI image detector. I'm going to use that Rembrandt otter image that we generated with Zoo in the previous module. To upload it to the detector, I'll drag and drop the file. Then click Submit. As you can see, we have results very quickly. We know that we generated this image with AI. This is being detected as human created with this image detector. The less you rely on these tools, the better off you're going to be. Although sometimes this is useful if you want to approach a conversation with your students. Some AI detectors will show a simple yes or no. That means AI created it or did not. But it's worth considering that there's often a great deal of work done to edit an image to get it to be just right, even if the original source was AI. A lot of this will come down to the policies you enact in your courses. The more you experiment with these tools, the more knowledgeable you will be, and you will be better prepared to create policies that work for you and your subject matter. Refer to the resources below this video for the most up-to-date AI detectors. I've mentioned false positives a few times throughout this presentation, but this bears repeating because this is a big deal. Many AI detectors out there will note that there is a likelihood of false positive results, which makes sense because these tools are designed to mimic real and natural human creations. The other problem is that these are original works. It's one thing to detect a perfect copy or plagiarism, but it's quite another to detect when something incorporates pieces of data to create a new thing that has not existed before. As I stated earlier, some of the estimates in 2023 showed that Turnitin expected approximately 1% of the positives to be false, which was later shown to be closer to 8%. And OpenAI's AI text classifier, which has since been discontinued, initially showed 8% of the positives to be false, which was found to be inaccurate. This is why the emphasis in this course is to encourage you to experiment with these tools, because your own ability to recognize AI patterns in writing and image generation will equip you to better recognize the signs of AI. So the question remains, what do we do once we have detected the inappropriate use of AI in submissions by our students? A lot of our approach will depend on the policies we've set and the way we have communicated those policies in our courses. But even if you don't have an explicit AI policy yet, an existing plagiarism policy can cover some of those bases. We'll talk more about policy making and enforcement in the next module, but for now, here are some of the steps that you can take if you suspect the inappropriate use of AI by students in your courses. First, take the time to thoroughly review the submission. It can be tempting to discard the work when you feel AI has been used to create it, but remember, false positives are incredibly common. Spending the time to review the work will help you determine the likelihood of AI use in the submission. And do consider preparing feedback as well, especially for a written student submission. Remember, some of the patterns in AI generating writing are repetitiveness, vagueness, and the confident assertion of incorrect information. It may be that an AI-generated paper submission scores low enough on its own merit. In that situation, it teaches the student a valuable lesson that the content of the paper is more important than its smoothness. And keep in mind that students may only use AI in limited portions of their paper, so feedback is still valuable. If and when the time comes to confront the student, remember that this is a conversation. Engage the student in a discussion and try to avoid an accusatory tone. Regardless of whether the student actually used AI in their submission or not, they will likely be defensive and upset at the suggestion. Consider asking questions like, what kind of research did you use to write the paper? Or ask how long it took them to write the paper. Is this their first draft, or did they spend enough time editing? And how did they write the paper? Did they use Google Docs, for example, which records their timestamps as they work? These questions can reveal the use of generative AI without coming off as an accusation that can damage your relationship with the students. Remember, this can be a learning opportunity for your students. Check out the additional resources for more suggestions, and remember, your peers have a wealth of knowledge and experience and ideas. We've discussed quite a bit about strategies for detecting AI-generated images and text. We also discussed methods for approaching your students when you suspect they've used AI inappropriately. Your task is now to experiment. In the lesson, you will find several reading materials, additional videos, and even a few simulations that will help you practice detecting the use of AI in various types of content. Next, you will engage with a quiz to check your knowledge, and then you will get some more practice by using AI to generate content. And then you will run that AI content through the detection tools so you can get a feel for the accuracy of the tools. In the reflective activity, you will discuss the processes as well as any strategies you find yourself using that help you along the way. This work will help prepare you to have those discussions with your students and will hopefully give you confidence as you begin to think about the policies you will enact in your classes. As you practice using these tools, feel free to take screenshots of the final products if you would like to share these with your colleagues. And if you discover new detection tools, don't hesitate to share those as well. Remember, AI and AI detection is changing on a daily basis, so the more you uncover, the richer the discussion will be for you and your peers.